Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And we come to you from wacky weather, Southwest Virginia. Now, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday it was 82 degrees Fahrenheit. It was t-shirt weather. I went to work in a thin polo top. I went out and got my lunch. I didn't even take a coat with me to work. When I went out for a walk at lunchtime to get my lunch, it was warm. I felt a little bit hot. Yesterday evening, we had the ceiling fan on full tilt in the bedroom. And then Hannah said, I think we need to alter the heat pump schedule because it's still set on winter and the house was too warm. Okay, this morning, around 10 o'clock, it started snowing. And it started off with a bit of rain, turned into sleet and ice, and then it turned into full-on snow. I had approximately half an inch of snow on my car, and when I got home, there was still snow on the ground.
Yep. And what's crazy is, so yesterday I walked my dog after work. For those of you who are not in the America Fahrenheit degrees, the U.S. Freedom units, it's about a 32-degree difference, give or take. About 32-degree difference. So keep that in perspective. So it was like 84 when I walked my dog Fahrenheit yesterday. And so we're talking like 54, give or take, 52 in Celsius. And I was wearing shorts. And then Tim lives a town over from me, and he works about 2 towns over. So the snow hit me a little bit earlier than I think it hit Tim. It's like 9:30 when it hit us. We got, it came down for a while after it was raining. It was very cold rain when I went into work. Thankfully, I had my umbrella, and I wore a big sweater. And then I got to work, and I'm looking out the window, and I was like, oh, I don't like that. And I kept asking for it to stop. And then it only lasted for us about, 2 hours, and then it was gone.
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 hours where we were... But it's just wacky. Driving home and there's people with snow on their cars. It's like, what's this all about?
And it's supposed to be like back and forth. Like it's supposed to be back in the 60s and 70s by the end of this week. But then on next Monday, they're calling again for snow. And I am over the snow. Tim can tell you in our winter, we had snowmageddon after snowmageddon after snowmageddon for 1 month straight. And we were all over it.
Yeah, it's been a thing. It really has been a thing. But anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, you don't come here for weather updates.
Yes, this was a snow apocalypse episode. All right. Well, Tim, what would you like to start the people with?
Okay, I have 2 things. I have one piece of music news, and I just want to reiterate something that we mentioned in the end of the last episode. We would like to meet and know more about our listeners.
Yes.
So if you wanted to record yourself a quick voice note and send it to nonamemusiccast@gmail.com, we'd be happy to listen to them, learn about who our listeners are, and we might even play some of them on the air.
Yes. And I think it'd just be fun to hear if you guys have any ideas for us or just things we've said that you'd like to correct, because I'm sure we've said things wrong or you want to confirm. Like I've had many people who listen to the podcast write me afterwards and be like, but did you actually know? Because I remember specifically there was one episode we were discussing someone's hits, and they had a lot more hits than me and Tim were familiar with. So that stuff's also fun, too.
Absolutely. So anyway, nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. Please send some stuff through. And I said, we'll play some, we'll listen to them. We want to find out who you are.
All right. And did you have something else?
Yeah. So I have one piece of music news. Morrissey. Now, we've spoken about Morrissey a number of times. He's become a No Name Music Cast staple for us.
Yes.
Now, it wouldn't surprise you to hear that he cancelled a gig yesterday.
Shocker.
Okay, he's supposed to be playing in Valencia in Spain. He cancelled the concert because the headline says, Morrissey uses the least rock and roll excuse of all time to cancel the show, lack of sleep. Apparently, Where his hotel was, there was some kind of street party, street event in Valencia in the Plaza
Mm-hmm.
Manises. I don't know where that is, but apparently people are having a grand old time in the street, having a street party. He couldn't sleep. He said it was an indescribable hell, and as a result, he cancelled his show the next day.
Headphones, earplugs. Say it with me, earplugs. You have a decent. Well, I don't know what his net worth was, but I'm pretty sure he could afford earplugs, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, you would think Morrissey at this stage, he is an experienced musician, somebody who's used to living and traveling on tour buses, aeroplanes, sleeping in funny hotel rooms in lots of different situations. When you're a traveling musician, I mean, I don't travel to the same degree as like people who are on tour, but I've been in my fair share of hotel rooms in funny places. I've been in buses and stuff and traveled, and you think that once you've spent your entire life being a professional musician, you would have seen it all. And yes, you're going to travel with earplugs, you're going to travel with an eye mask, you might even travel these days with noise cancelling headphones or something, because you know that sometimes the only sleep you're going to get is on a tour bus in the middle of the afternoon, so you would be prepared. Oh no, Morrissey gets to his hotel, people are having a grand old time in Valencia. He couldn't sleep, so he thought, "Oh, to hell with you! I'm canceling my gig."
If he were a good rocker, he would have went and hung out with them and still performed the next day.
Yeah.
That's what a true musician would have done right there. I would have went out there, had a fun time, and then probably been tired at the next concert. But also, like, it's not even just that. If you're traveling this much that you're going around the world, jet lag alone, like you probably have some melatonin. You'd have like Tim says, some type of eye mask. You could ask maybe the hotel to move you to a room closer, farther from the whatever's happening out there. But this is like what, the seventh concert now he's canceled or something. I just don't think he wants to do them, to be honest. It's just my 2 cents. And if you're listening and would like to speak on your behalf, Morrissey, that would be great. But, I don't think you are.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at a thread about Morris's famous cancellations. I mean, there's so many examples. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
I would rather him just say, I don't want to do it. Like, sometimes I hate whenever people come up with excuses, or like, I hate when people give you like some grandiose excuse of instead of just saying, I don't want to do it. I'd rather just hear, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I would respect you more if you were just honest about it than if you just make up something stupid. Or say you can't sleep. Also, like, he doesn't have the money to change hotels or something. Come on. Come on. Anyway, all right. Well, more on him. So I have a little bit of music news. Mine's not about Morrissey, but it is about someone that is also we talk a little bit about him on the podcast. This is about Quincy Jones. Mm-hmm. Apparently, his estate is selling his catalog, which includes a lot of Michael Jackson classics, of course. Mm-hmm. The ones that Paul McCartney didn't get.
Yeah, well, he would have a production credit, if nothing else, on those.
Yeah, that's true. So Quincy Jones' family has struck an acquisition deal with Harborview Equity Partners. They'll cover large swaths of his legendary catalog, including stake in his 3 classic Michael Jackson albums on the Motown record. So you're thinking like Off the Wall, Thriller. What's the other one? Bad.
Yes.
I knew. I was sitting there thinking it. Okay, Bad. So basically, he also owns George Benson's Give Me the Night, which is a song that I love. Mm-hmm. The Soul Bossa Nova, which is also one that's been used. And, like Elvis and all of them added it. So there's royalties in that song. And then he's got some music with Fleetwood Mac that he manages. He manages some music with T-Pain, Kelly Clarkson, so on and so forth. I didn't know he had those catalogs, but apparently he does. He also has the theme to Sanford and Son. So those are some of the catalogs that they're going to be able to take. And then the one that I didn't even know about was he also owns a huge stake in the TV show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
There we go. He must have had some production credit involved with the music of that.
Yep. So there you go. Also, The Color Purple. That was one that stood out to me. I mean, so much money, to be honest with you guys. PYT is another one that he has writing credits on. Tupac's song, Do You Want to Do It? There's another song that I'm not familiar with, but maybe Tim is. It's called Body Heat that they said is worth some money. And of course, thousands upon thousands of Motown songs.
Yeah, absolutely. He said it's such a influential producer. He was a music scorer before he was involved with Michael Jackson and all that kind of stuff. I know his production work is legendary. Of course, he produced "We Are the World." I mean,
Yep.
it was an incredible sad loss to the music community when we lost him a few years ago. But I mean, he leaves behind such a huge body of work.
Now, what they did not say is they did say Harborview will be hosting a tribute event in honor of him, March 13th, which, spoiler alert, because you guys won't hear this for 2, 3, 4, whatever weeks. I don't know. Tim does all that. I just come here and say stuff. And I pay for the Zoom account. No, that's tomorrow for me and Tim. So there will be, I am planning on, if it's going to be available, I want to watch that because I love a good tribute show, especially with a catalog this vast. It'll be interesting to watch. It's ahead of the Academy of Awards. I don't watch that stuff. That's boring to me. But anyway, I do want to see that. They have not released a number, but I imagine it is a very, very sizable amount of money they paid for this catalog.
Absolutely. I would imagine so.
It might be, honestly, Tim, that might be one of the most lucrative, if not the most lucrative music catalogs you could get your hand on.
Possibly, but I mean, Queen sold everything for $1 billion to Sony. I don't know if it would top that much.
All the Motown stuff, though.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Because you got like Stevie, you got, you know what I mean, the Temptations, you got like, I don't know what royalties have, what percentage of royalties have. Like for Michael, it said he had about 10% for most of the stuff he had for Michael. So, but I mean, Motown was his record, so he might have a lot there.
Yeah.
Anyway. So with that being said, I'll be curious to see if I find a number, I will bring it up on one of the next episodes because it would be interesting to see if it rivals there. Now, Queen, though, on the other hand, I don't know how much they had outside of just their main music catalog too. I'm not as knowledgeable at them as I am like Quincy Jones.
Well, the $1 billion deal with Sony encompasses all of their albums, all of their publishing, songwriting, royalties, everything like that, and including their likenesses for merchandise, the music videos, the whole thing, everything that in that universe was sold. But the agreement is that Brian May and Roger Taylor could continue to tour as Queen and make revenue from that and have some involvement with it until the day comes when they're not around anymore.
Well, that's interesting because I hadn't thought about that because they have the likeness side of it. Whereas Quincy Jones, even though he is a major mover in music, he doesn't have the likeness side of it because he's not a musician like in the way of like Queen, where he's actually out performing like that. So that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. All right. So with that being said, we're going to do a very interesting topic tonight, mostly because I want to see how many of these songs Tim does not know and which ones he does know.
Okay.
There might be a lot of awkward pauses and Tim staring at me. This is every top 100 number one hit since 2000 on. Tim's favorites. Tim knows the 2000s so well, guys.
So you're saying this is the number one hits from 2000 to today?
Yes. I think it ends on 2025. I don't know if we'll make it through all 25, but we're going to start in 2000 and work our way to now. So I will say, once again, it is a little bit harder to get your hands on the UK one. So this is mostly US based because it's just the Billboard Hot 100. That's what I went with. It was easier to do my research on. Now, with that being said, I would be curious to know if Tim knows this song. I have heard this song so many times, I would rather stick a pin in my eye than hear it again. This is it's a country music star, but she definitely had pop records. It's not Shania, it's not Dolly, it's Faith Hill's Breathe.
Yes, I am familiar with the song. So this was the hit in 2000, is that correct?
Yes, 2000. I didn't say that. Yeah, we're starting in 2000, correct.
Yes, I have heard this. I'm familiar with Faith Hill. Isn't she the one who's married to Garth Brooks? Is that Faith Hill?
Tim McGraw.
Oh, is it Tim McGraw? I knew it was a country star.
Trisha Yearwood is married to Garth Brooks.
Gotcha. Yeah. But
she's also a country star, so that is kind of confusing.
Yeah, I'm sure in the year 2000, this wouldn't have made even the smallest dent into the UK charts. Maybe that would be different now, but certainly in 2000 here, country was huge as it is now. And she's one of these artists which is more of a crossover artist anyway. She's not pure country. I'm sure if you go and see her in concert, there's lots of pedal steel guitars and banjos and stuff. But as far as like mainstream hits, it's country adjacent. It's almost like how where Taylor Swift started off and then she ended up being a pop star.
Yes. And I think I did say number one, but I think these are also just the ones that were the longest, like how many weeks they spent on the Hot 100. So this spent 53 weeks on the Hot 100. It did start in 1999 and then peaked on April 22nd, 2000. And for those who don't know, it's the one that's like, just breathe over and over and over and over and over. I like Faith Hill as a person. Her and Tim McGraw are great people if you don't know anything about them, like just personally. But their music, I'm good without. Sorry, Faith. Sorry, Tim.
Well, it's been discussed many times. Country music is pretty much banned in my house, so I couldn't really get into it even if I wanted to.
Yeah, and she's though I don't even think of that as a country song, to be completely transparent with you. That was such a crossover. I mean, a lot of people, they always talk about like Shania crossing over and things like that. And, Dolly did it first. But that song, and she kind of has, if you've heard it, Faith Hill has more of a pop sound to her voice than a country song to her voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with female voices, they tend to cross over better, whereas male voices have this drawl about them, which makes them country, which very much puts them into the country bracket.
Oh my gosh, I have got to tell you something that happened on The Masked Singer. Speaking of country people and going back and forth and things like that. So there was I can't remember what costume it was, but there was a recent, spoiler alert, if you are not up to date in The Masked Singer and you would like to not jump ahead like a minute, 30 seconds. I'll be quick. There was a character recently that was unmasked on The Masked Singer, Tim. And it was... what's the guy from REO Speedwagon?
Kevin Cronin.
Yes. I thought it was going to be Darius Rucker. And the reason I thought it was going to be Darius Rucker was REO Speedwagon. There was a bunch of references to wagon, and I kept thinking wagon wheel. And he kind of had like a little bit of like a rock kind of sound, but sort of country sound. And so I kept thinking it was Darius Rucker. It was not. And I kept thinking of you because I know how much you love wagon wheel.
Oh, I haven't actually played it for a while, it's fair to say, but it hasn't come up in the bands that I've been in for the last year.
Well, I feel like it had a real big resurgence when I was in high school, which was like 2006 to 2008. Everybody was obsessed with Wagon Wheel, and then it kind of went away. So it doesn't surprise me that you haven't played it in a while. All right, this is another song I absolutely can't say.
Well, really, Joy, to give some context to this, mention the year before you say the song.
Yes, so this is 2001.
Okay.
And the song is Lifehouse, Hanging by a Moment.
I'm out on that one. When you say Lifehouse, what comes to mind is the Who project Lifehouse that turned into the Who's Next album. Lifehouse as a band, I have no idea.
They were like an alternative rock, maybe post-grunge kind of thing. They had like a sound that is not my favorite, just full transparency. And this song was everywhere, though. And I think it may have been a religion. There was like a time frame in the early 2000s in America where a lot of these, they call themselves religious bands, but really their music, like POD, Creed, I think Lifehouse was another of them where they kind of bordered on Christian, but you never quite knew where they stood.
Yeah, because you have bands like Stryper and things like that. They're very clearly Christian bands. But yes, I think with Creed, they were Christian band adjacent.
Yes, and I actually have a story about that. So you know who POD is? They had that We Are, the Youth of the Nation song. That's about the only song they ever had. So Carowinds, which is a giant amusement park near me and Tim. It's probably 2-3 hours if you go down to Charlotte. So it's a decent drive, but it's a pretty big amusement park. And anybody who grew up in Southwest Virginia has been to Carowinds at least once. It's just like that thing, kind of like you go to Dollywood and Pigeon Forge and all that.
Yeah.
So we went when I was probably, 15, 16. And I was familiar with POD because it's when that song was super popular. And they were playing it all over Fuse. And they were playing, there's a big amphitheater right outside of Carowinds. and they were playing it. Well, I was with my church group. So my church group had heard there was going to be a Christian band playing. That was not the Christian band some of the upper echelons of the church thought we were getting. We were very excited as the youth who were really into our alternative rock phase. But to say that they were concerned about the music was an understatement. Sorry about that, guys. I still have a little bit of a lingering cough. I'm getting past a little bit of some sickness. But yeah, I distinctly remember that. We were so happy. We were like, this is awesome. But they were not as impressed.
I would imagine so. Almost like the time at Lambton School when we had some kind of off day where there was no lessons that day and everyone stayed in the school or something. And some people went to Thorpe Park and some people didn't. And I stayed back. And they thought it would be fun to watch the film Beverly Hills Cop 2. Oh.
Charlie had a similar situation with, what was that? Me, Myself, and Irene or something. I guess it was super popular for, I've watched it, but I don't remember like all the topics, but there were some adult topics in it. And something made his grandparents think that it was a great movie for the family to watch. It was not.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't. Anyway. All right. So the next one is 2002. Oh, God. The next one is 2002, not 2000. Oh, God, Tim, I don't even want to talk about this one. You might be able to predict what this is. It's Nickelback, How You Remind Me.
A veritable rock and roll classic. As you know, I'm fully aware of this. Nickelback, what great Canadian rockers. Chad Kroger, if he's not busy in the supermarket around the corner from me, he's making thunderous rock music.
Oh, God. It's that genre. There's a specific genre that I just can't take, and this sums it up nicely. It's also because like the rock star song and everything like that was super popular when I was in high school, and so I think I just got mind-numbingly shoved down my throat. So that's all we're gonna say about that. We're moving along from 2000. Okay, 2003 is great. I think Tim will know this song. I don't know if he'll have anything to say about it, but he will know this song. 2003 is 50 Cent's In the Club.
Now, I'm not a fan of that kind of music, as we have covered many, many times before. Rap music is not anything that I'm into. I actively dislike rap music. However, I am fully aware of this song because when I was running disco music in the breaks for Whiskey River, this was one on my rotation that people seem to like.
You mean go shorty, it's your birthday, we gonna party. Like, you know that, Tim? It lives rent free in your head at this point. I mean, I could sing this song with my eyes closed. It was everywhere for 5 minutes. I don't think you could be alive during this time and escape 50 Cent, even if you wanted to.
Well, let me tell you, I'd never heard it until
of course, Tim could.
about 10 years ago. I'd never heard it. And I started hearing it when I was out gigging with Whiskey River, and we used to play places that had DJs, and I'd heard it, and that's where I created my playlist of songs from.
Fair enough.
If that came out in 2003, I did not hear that. I had no knowledge of who this 50 Cent character was.
Did you know, and I'm Googling it on air so you guys hear me typing, that 50 Cent, did you know he's been shot like a lot? I'm going to give you the number. He has been shot 9 times. This man is alive, and he has been shot 9 times at close range.
Well, I would just say to Mr. Cent, just don't put yourself in situations that allow you to be shot.
Okay, in his defense, apparently it was a close range assassination attempt on May 24th in 2000 outside his grandmother's house in Queens. Now, I do think it might have been gang affiliated something, but I don't know.
Well, that's the thing, I say that, but he's obviously mixing with people where stuff like this happens. It's like, Mr. Cent, I think you need to enjoy your riches a little bit more and not hang out with those types.
Well, anyway, I just thought it's just funny because I think about it a lot. Like I mean, to be fair, Tim, my father has been shot 4 times.
Oh, crikey.
So there's that. Oh gosh, we got a classic for the next one, Tim. And this is one that you will probably know from your DJing days as well. We're on a kick right here. This is 2004. This is Usher and Lil Jon and Ludacris, and it's yeah, yeah, yeah. You've heard this, right, Tim? Please.
I, th- yeah, yes, I have. From the Whiskey River DJ days. However, at the time, I wouldn't have heard of it. The first time I heard it was about 10 years ago.
It's the one that's like, yeah, okay, and Lil Jon like at the beginning. Yeah, where they're literally just like saying yeah and okay back and forth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, is Little John small? I mean, wasn't he like part of like Robin Hood or something?
That there was a Little John in Robin Hood, wasn't there?
Is it the same one?
No, I don't think so. Because I think Robin Hood, I don't think they're real people. I could be wrong, but I think those are characters.
Well, I can tell you, I've been to Sherwood Forest in England, and I
Whoa.
went there, and it was like a Renaissance fair going on, and there were statues of all the people, like the Friar Tuck and Robin Hood. So they must have been real, probably.
Hold on one second. Little John from Robin Hood. See, the Little John I'm familiar with, okay, is a bear. Have you ever watched the cartoon version of Robin Hood?
No.
Oh. Well, I don't think the bear version is real. Because he was the second in command of the Merry Men. You know, his band of Merry Men. Never mind. Also, I know you are not that familiar with Shrek, but there's a scene where Robin Hood and he's like, "Your band of merry men," and they start dancing, and it's amazing. It's like one of the best scenes ever. Now, here's a question: is Robin Hood based on a real story
I think
or a
so.
real
He's like a
person?
folk. It's like a folklore hero. I mean, if he didn't exist exactly as the story goes, it's probably something like that.
All right. Well, it says right here Robin Hood is a legendary heroic outlaw originally depicted in English folklore, so like you're saying, and subsequently in literature, theater, and cinema. According to legend, he was, da 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 da, robbing from the rich, give to the poor. I'm just trying to see. It does say that the original text started in the 15th century, so there you go.
There we go.
Well, I really had a lot to do with Usher's, yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know how much Tim knows of this artist. I like this song, but this is actually later in her career. It's 2005. It's Mariah Carey. It's We Belong Together.
So I'm familiar with like the classic hits of Mariah Carey and even some of the contemporary hits too. This is a song that I am not familiar with. Around this time, I was not listening to anything that was less than 25 years old.
See, I knew that's what the half of this episode would be. I like Mariah though. What was it? So I was telling Tim, or I was showing Tim, like I was like, there's this thing where we talked about on another episode where I sit and where Dolly react to people doing covers of her music, and there's quite a few other ones of artists reacting to people doing covers of their music. And Mariah is notoriously known as being shady when it comes to stuff like that. Like I also think she struggles with what I struggle with. I have RBF, and so you can't always judge what I'm thinking by what the look on my face is, Tim, because I don't always register that well. She also has extremely hard music for people to cover. Some of that early whistle tone, like she was, only certain people can do that well. So it can probably get challenging when you hear people doing music. And she has notoriously said that she doesn't like to listen to people doing covers of her song just because it's hard for her to hear.
Yeah.
But she does a video with that where she, like the one I showed you, Tim, where she reacts. And it's so funny because whenever she's about to like throw shade, or you could tell she doesn't really care that much, she'll compliment something else about the people. Like there was this one, it was a duo of two younger women. They're probably in their early 20s, and they did an okay version of one of her songs. Good harmonies, they had a good flow, but it wasn't like right home about. And she was just like, well, their bedroom's really cute that they're sitting on. I like the setup. And you can see it on her face. And it's just like, and I was sitting there thinking, whoever hired her to do this was a bad idea. I don't know why. She can't not, everything she's thinking is written all over her face. But she also says sometimes She struggles with like she's thinking something else in her head. Her face looks like the other. But I can't remember what that is. But there's like a magazine or media or something that goes on YouTube and does those. They're wonderful. Oh, so this song, the next one, Tim, makes me think of American Idol because it
Okay.
was used whenever someone would get kicked off the show, at least for the first two seasons back in the day. This was 2006. It is Daniel Powder, I don't know, Powder, however you say his name. Cause you had a bad day, you take it one down. Do you remember that song, Tim?
I do indeed, and I actually this song actually has a memory for me. So
Oh, what's that?
I was working a job for a very short period of time. Actually, it was around 3 months or 4 months. It was an absolutely awful place. I'm going to name and shame because I don't even think they're in business anymore. I
Okay.
worked for Marantz and Denon up by Heathrow Airport, and I worked there only for like 4 months. I'd left another job, got into this job. They were incredibly unpleasant people. The job was terrible. It was an incredibly bad atmosphere. Everything
I think
about it was
we've all
shockingly
been there before. So,
shockingly
yeah.
bad, and I couldn't wait to get out of them. I was there about a week, and I was like, I have to get out of this. This is awful. And I was in first off in one office, and the people were okay. And then I got about a month later, I got moved to another office, and that was where the rot started. It was terrible. Anyhow, when I was in that first office, they used to have the radio on, and this song was in rotation, and it's like, yeah, yeah, I am having a bad day.
Thanks for reminding me. Every time somebody would like get kicked off of American Idol, they would play this song, Tim. Kind of like the Who Are You was used for CSI at the beginning, and now it's
Yep.
used for the Masked Singer when they rip the head off the Masked Singer. Like it just I used to this song is and it's so honestly it is I mean peak pop kind of sound, but also I don't find his voice that great, and it's like what where he's repeating it over. It's kind of like that one song for the Who where I can go for miles and miles and miles. That's literally
Yeah.
the whole lyric. That's what I think about when I hear this song because he just sings about because you had a bad day over and over and over again.
Yeah. It's I
Not
said
my
it
favorite.
reminds me of a particularly bad day.
I mean, that was the soundtrack of your life. I would be like, that would drive me insane. I'd be like, okay, yeah, I already know it's been a bad day. Let's shut it off.
Yeah, I mean, the only sort of saving thing about that time is that I'd go and sit in my car at lunchtime and I'd listen to a talk radio station called LBC. And they had a comedian, or like she's a writer, but also a comedian called Sandy Toksvig. I think she's Icelandic or Finnish or something like that. But anyhow, famous in the
Yeah.
UK. And she had like a radio show on at lunchtime and she was hilarious. And I used to go and sit in my car at lunchtime, eat my lunch and listen to Sandy Toksvig. And that was a bit that got me through the rest of the afternoon.
One of the worst scheduled job thing I can think of. So obviously, if you've ever worked at a call center, I know Tim has. They're always mind-numbingly bad to begin with, right? Call center work is just wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But when I was at a call center once, I got stuck with this shift, which sounds great in theory, but it wasn't. I worked Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So it was 10 hours, right, Tim? But I had what was known as a 2 hour split in the middle. So I was essentially 12 hours of my day was gone because I would get there at like 8 a.m. and then do my 4 hours. Then I get 2 hours off. Then I had to come back for another 4 hours. So I would be there from like 8 to the middle of the night. And well, it seems nice because you got, your Saturdays and your Sundays off and you had Wednesday off in the middle. So you never worked more than 2 days in a row. I hated that shift. I was miserable. I gained a bunch of weight because I was sitting all the time and I never had time to do anything outside of work, like go to the gym, because you know what I mean? You're waking up, you're going straight to work.
Yeah.
You're coming home, you're going straight to work. And those 2 hours, well, it seems like, oh, you get, 2 hours, a break, reset. No, because all you're sitting there thinking about is how you have to go back to work.
Yeah, I mean, luckily that job I was telling you about basically turned into a call center job and it was awful.
Yeah.
But no, I've never had that sort of split shift thing going on before, but Hannah used to work something like that years ago and it just sounded terrible.
It was mentally the worst. And like, and because it was a split and not at lunch, if you got off, like, let's say you had to take, you took a call like 2 minutes before your split, right, Tim? If that call lasted for 40 minutes, that 40 minutes came out of your 2 hours. They didn't let you stay off for 2 hours because it was a split, not a lunch.
Yeah, that's awful.
It was horrible. Wouldn't wish it on. I also had to get my doctor to write a note saying that they had to give me a break whenever I wanted one, literally, for physical issues because they just, I used to call it your ball and chain. For those who've never worked at a call center that is very serious about metrics, you can't get up. You can't go do what you can't, like, let's say you need to use the restroom. You want to grab some water. Nope, you're stuck. You can't use after call for more than a certain amount of time. And the one that was the worst was I had one that I only worked at. I actually only made it like a month, Tim. I walked out the door at this one. The other one, I was there for 2 years and ended up becoming a manager. But, I had one where I was like, when we lived in Utah, we'd only been there for a little bit. I just picked up the job very quickly, so I was making some income, right? And if you were on a call and your break was coming up and there was a heavy queue, they would call your phone, Tim, and ask you to stay on until they gave you permission to take your break. They would also, if you had to put somebody on hold and you hit the 2 minute mark, they would start calling your hard phone because you had the soft phone with the customer. They would call your hard phone and ask you why the customer had been on hold. That was how serious it was. I refused to answer. They would call my phone, Tim, and I'd just ignore it. I was like, you can either walk over here or leave me alone. And you would see them at their little, like literally like at their desk, leaning over, looking at you, wondering why you're not answering the phone.
Well, I can tell you that when I worked at that job for Marantz Denon, there was somebody there who, I'd been there 5 minutes and she had it in for me. And she calls my desk phone and gives me a load of grief. I can't remember why. It was not warranted. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you if I made a mistake, but it was just not warranted. And
even if you made a mistake, that doesn't work as a manager, and you know that, Tim.
Yeah. This wasn't even my manager. This was just somebody who worked there. Oh, and this went on for a while, and I let her go for a while, and I just hung up and carried on with my day. And that's not me. That's not the kind of thing I do. But it's like, I cannot be doing with that.
I would have hung up on her too. Like I said, it was when I had good intentions, but after you're waiting on a supervisor to take a call, Tim, or you have to go. The supervisor's gotten away from their desk, and you have to go track them down. Like, that's not my fault that this person's going to have to sit here. You're expecting me, when I'm trying to track down a supervisor, run back to my phone, answer for 2 seconds, just long enough to say, please hold, because they've been on hold for 2 minutes. Yeah, get over yourself.
Crikey.
Anyway, this is not a call center hate group, but might become one. All right, so back to the music. I don't know if Tim will know the song. He'll know this artist. I definitely know the song. You might have heard it, maybe like a DJing or something, but this is 2007 Beyonce and is Irreplaceable.
No, I've not heard that. I've heard the song Crazy in Love. Yeah, and I think
Jay-Z.
That's Beyonce. Is that correct?
It's Beyonce and Jay-Z, and that's really the single that made her popular when she became a solo artist. Which, by the way, Tim didn't know she was a member of Destiny's Child till how many episodes ago?
It was 20 episodes, 10 episodes ago. And as I said, I mentioned that to Hannah, that you were surprised, and Hannah said to me, why would you know that?
I just assumed. I don't know. Hannah knew that, I'm assuming, yes.
Yeah, she would know that, but I mean, that's nothing I would ever listen to, so.
I don't know. This is the one that goes, if you had heard it, it's like, to the left, everything you own in a box to the left. It's a song about a guy cheating on her or kicking him out of the house, and everything he owns is in a box to the left. And then at one point, she's trying to take the Jaguar with him, and she's like, no, it's my name on the tag, so I'm calling you a cab. Like, that's literally like how it rhymes. Jag, cab, Tim. It's real good rhyming on this one.
I have nothing. I've never heard of any of that before.
All right, well, this one you most likely have heard when you were DJ. I'm realizing most of these songs that were very quintessential in my high school are very much songs that Tim probably hadn't heard for 20 years and then eventually had to put on a DJ rotation. It is 2008. It is Flo Rida featuring T-Pain, and it is Low.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with this song. I remember this when this came out, in fact. So, yes, I am very aware of this song.
In what capacity were you? Where were you, Tim? Were you heard this? I'm just generally curious. Were you hanging out in all the clubs or something?
No, for some reason I was just very aware of this song.
It was probably relatively popular, I guess, in the UK as well. So it doesn't surprise
Yeah, and
me.
it said somehow this song, and also the Flow Rider's version of "Right Round." That was
I love
also
that
another.
version.
Yeah, that was another song that I was aware of. I don't know, Mr. Ryder. That's not that not his real name, but
Yes. I don't know what his real name is either, but I'm going to go with it's not that. You do know Flo Rida is Florida, right, Tim?
yes, absolutely. I do
Okay.
know one thing.
Yeah.
So I remember there was an appeal because I was into this song at the time, and it ended up on it was maybe not it may have been YouTube, but that time 2000s is very early YouTube, so it was some kind of thing it was on that I saw. He
Yeah.
did an appearance on Howard Stern's TV show, and he performed Right Round, and he had a
Yeah.
couple of dancers with him, and he brought into the studio. It was about $20,000 or $30,000, but they were all in singles, and so he was doing his song. He was doing a live vocal performance to track, and then he had these two ladies dancing, and of course, him and his handlers were throwing money all over the ladies doing dancing. Okay, so
Okay. That seems
it
on
was
brand.
quite the visual.
Yes.
But apparently, so after they went to a break, and then apparently his people went round the studio picking up every single dollar bill. It's like they didn't leave $1 behind, making you think they borrowed that from a bank somewhere.
I mean, I think what I think of this song, I just think people still make jokes about she had them apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. That line is pretty iconic. I got to give them to him with that one, Tim.
Yeah, I think Hannah liked it so much at the time. I think she actually bought apple bottom jeans because it's a brand.
It is a brand. And or the baggy sweatpants with the Reeboks with the straps, that's the other one in the song.
Yeah.
But so the funny thing about, so obviously we're talking about Flo Rida, but this one is featuring T-Pain. Now T-Pain is interesting because he's the one that's notoriously known for his use of autotune, right? To the point that it was obnoxious. But he's actually an amazing singer.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned that before.
He was on The Masked Singer. He won. But if you go back and you watch, he has a little, recently he did the Tiny Desk concert series and a few other things. His voice is on point. And he jokes about that he kind of started some of the auto-tune thing as like a joke, like more like a joke kind of thing. He thought it was fun to play around with, especially on tracks like this, right? Like it's not that serious to begin with. And he kind of got stuck in that genre and they wouldn't let him out. It's kind of like what happened with Britney with the baby voice, like Britney Spears with her baby voice. When she started doing it, they wouldn't let her back out because that's what sold money.
Yeah.
Sold money. That's what made money, Troy. You didn't sell the money, but that's what made money. And he said he got put in this little box. But he is an amazing singer, an amazing artist, incredibly talented. And he's actually wrote quite a few like songs and produced from behind the scenes that people don't know about. So there you go. Well, Mr. T-Pain over here. Oh, Tim will know this song. This is an artist that we spoke about on this podcast. And recently I was just watching her react to people doing her songs, and it was very funny. The year is 2009. The song is Boom Boom Pow by the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, very familiar with this as well. I remember this when this came out. And he goes, here we go, satellite radio, in fact, he says.
And he does. So the reason I was bringing that up is good old Fergie. We love some Fergie on this podcast, and she has had some of the most iconic, I think, music moments of anyone in the world. Now, will.i.am is always interesting to me because he was on either the UK's version of like The Voice, I think, or something like that. And he produced the new version of We Are the World. I'm fairly certain it was will.i.am to raise money for where is he from? Haiti?
Yeah.
Haiti. I think it was Haiti. So that's, but it seems like in the UK, he's viewed as like a bigger artist than he is here, or like a more known name. I don't know if that's true, Tim, but like I've noticed like he pops up a lot more there.
Yeah.
But here, he's just a member of the Black Eyed Peas. I mean, that's just the truth. I loved Fergie and I love the Black Eyed Peas, but I will say, if you want to just go laugh a little bit, Go watch some of their live performances.
Yeah, watch possibly the worst Super Bowl halftime of all time, which is the one by the Black Eyed Peas.
Yes. Also watch her butcher the national anthem.
Yeah, you can pull that one up too. That's a classic.
Just go watch any of their concerts, to be honest. And it was almost like they didn't care. Like they just seemed like they generally did not care to do a good job sometimes, Tim.
No.
And what's weird is I don't think Fergie, Stacy, whatever you want to call her, I think she does have some like a decent sound to her voice. I don't think she knows how to use it well, and she's more of a look than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Stacy. Oh, Tim will know this song. Everybody will know this song. This artist recently had to change the lyrics of this song because it was controversial. This is 2010's Kesha, and it is TikTok. TikTok on the clock, but you've heard that, right, Tim? Oh my God.
I know what you're talking about, but I've never heard the song.
Okay, well, in it, she says, she used to say something about P. Diddy, like party like P. Diddy or get ready like P. Diddy or something like that. And due to recent events with P. Diddy being arrested, which we could say on this podcast is no longer alleged, right, Tim? He got in a lot of trouble. She changed the lyric and it said, like, instead of like P. Diddy, it says, like, F. P. Diddy.
And that's the same person as Puff Daddy, isn't it?
Yep. Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, P. Diddy. He's got like 47 names. Sean Diddy Combs. I don't know why he changes his name. Maybe he's going for a Prince type situation. I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, he's probably known as a number in a correctional facility, is what I understand.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, listeners, go down that rabbit hole. But it will not surprise you that of all the people who deserve to be in prison, it might be him. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to leave it at that. But yeah, I just know that when she performs it now, she changed the lyrics because she said she didn't feel comfortable singing that anymore. So I thought that was funny. Kesha is an interesting one because as much as people hate on her because she does like this kind of poppy, you know what I mean, Tim, and she kind of got some backlash for it. She's one of those artists that writes a lot of music for other artists. And so she can write like a pop song in like 30 seconds kind of person, if that makes sense. You know, like there's some people who like, not everybody's a Max Martin or something, right? But hold on, let's see. Songs she wrote for other artists. And so she has like this, she did songs for Britney Spears. She did songs for Miley Cyrus. She did songs for the Veronicas, Alice Cooper. Just the list goes, Ariana Grande, Flo Rida, speaking of Flo Rida. And so she's got like a lot of co-writing chops on, like tons and tons and tons of music, and she's notoriously known. So whether you like her or not, she's one of those ones that they say that if you hear, like they'll say it took me 5 minutes to write this song and it became their number one hit. She's one of those types, Tim. So there you go.
There we are.
Lady Gaga has said that notoriously too. She says like poker face and stuff, which to be fair, Poker Face is Ma Baker, which I did not learn until I was doing the pod. I didn't know. I had heard the two songs. Like I had heard them both, you know, in isolated moments. But one moment I was like sitting there and I was like, the ma came on and I was like, wait a second. This is Boney M. And I wonder how many people out there really know that. So
there you go.
Tim, how'd you put that together until I said it, or did you realize it?
No, because I didn't really know Poker Face that well. But yes, now I know that. Thanks to you pointing that out.
There you go. So maybe it wasn't that hard for her to write because it was already a song. I don't know. But that being said, this is definitely someone Tim will know. I don't know how much he would been into this musician, but you know this musician. We're talking 2011. This is Adele's Rolling in the Deep.
I know who Adele is. I've never heard this song before.
Have you ever heard any Adele songs?
Yeah, that one song we play in the band, Feel My Love.
Oh, okay.
That's the one and only Adele song I've ever heard.
And weirdly enough, that's the one I did a cover of one time. It's a fun song to sing. This is this one's like her like breakout hit. I always think about Adele. I think about the Freak Jam because we were doing one of the first Freak Jams we did, some music trivia. And I don't remember what it was. We had to guess something. And it was like scrambled up pictures or something, or baby pictures. Baby pictures. I think it was Tomo. He was posting baby pictures. And the one that was super obvious was like Prince, because, the mouth. But Adele came up. And I was like, oh, that's obvious. And he goes, is it? And then I was like, and then I got put on the spot. I was like, I really hope that's Adele now that I said that. And that sticks out to me for some reason. I know like when she came out, a lot of people praised her for her singing ability and kind of being less of a pop star and more of like a voice. I'm just going to say, I've not really been that into her music. She just doesn't really scratch the itch for me for some reason.
Yeah, and she also blames her crew for her downfall, as it were, with those gigs in Vegas.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And there's nothing. And the other thing is, even if it were true, Tim, even if my staff at work or your staff at work or anyone did something that was the reason something went, you don't tell people. You just don't.
No.
There's something when you're a manager or when you're at the top, you have to accept some level of, you know what I mean, Tim? It's going to fall on you. And you just don't throw people under the, even if, and that's always like, we were talking about bad places to work earlier, Tim. If you have a boss who will throw you out to dry, or like just the other day, one of my staff members had made a mistake and we found the mistake, we fixed it. But the person who she had made the mistake was in the office upset. Not once did I ever tell him it was her.
No, absolutely.
You just don't do that. And so, I don't know. I just feel like that's just like, if you are a boss and you are listening to this podcast, don't ever do that. Also, if you tell your staff to do something and it is later questioned, you need to be the one to admit you told them to do it. That happened to me before, too.
Yeah.
Have you ever been blamed for that, Tim? Your manager tells you to do something and then it comes back later and it's like they forgot all about it?
Yep, 100%.
That's the worst. All right. Anyway, had nothing to do with the song Rolling in the Deep. All right. Well, let's move along to 2012. So this song has a cover that's come out recently, Evan. I don't know if you're going to know this song, but it was definitely everywhere, and you might recognize like the rhythm to it. This is I don't even know how to say. I think it's Gautier featuring Kimbra. It's Somebody That I Used to Know. Somebody That I Used to. I don't know, Tim. Does that ring a bell?
Not in the slightest. Nothing about that.
I didn't think it would. We'll move along. Some of these are going to be hard. Tim won't know this next one either, but he'll definitely know the one after that. So, well, maybe he'll surprise you, but I can't imagine Tim listening to this song or ever being in the sphere near you that you would listen to. I love this song, though. I will say. 2013 is Macklemore featuring Ryan Lewis and 1's. I don't know who 1's is. And the song is Thrift Shop.
No idea.
So this song is really fun, though, Tim. I kind of want to force you at some point in time, force him against his
Force
will.
me. Forcible listening.
It is. This is the one he's talking about. He's literally, the song is about going to thrift shops and buying stuff.
Yeah, I do that. Well, I haven't done it as much recently because the CDs around here have dried up, and that's the only thing I buy in thrift shops.
And then he's like, in one part he's like, he's talking about your Crimmy, your Annie, your mama, your mammy. I'll rock those zebra jammies secondhand. I can't say that because it's got bad work in it. But then it says something about later, and they're like, oh, that's Gucci, and that's hella tight. And then he goes, yo, but that's $50 for a t-shirt. Like, that's literally lyrics in this song, too.
Yeah, they're completely passing me by on this.
Have you ever heard of Macklemore at all?
No.
Oh, that's sad. He's actually a pretty good artist, to be honest. He might be a modern day artist, someone that you probably wouldn't go out of your way to listen to, but you might tolerate, if that makes sense.
Okay. but you do know that Van Halen's 4 Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album is still available. So I might be listening to that instead.
You know what's crazy, Tim, is this song is 13 years old.
There we are. Well, I was listening to music today that was 40 years old. So.
And no, that's impossible. Didn't you know, Tim, that the 90s were only 10 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
All right, Tim knows this artist. Tim knows this song. We've talked about this song on this. I don't know how Tim feels about this song, but the artist from 2014 is Pharrell Williams, and the song is Happy. Do you remember when Happy was everywhere?
I know it, but I didn't know it at the time.
How did you learn about Happy then? I'm curious to know where
I
this
think
came
I've
to be
heard
in
it
your life.
recently.
The Because I'm Happy clap along if you feel.
I think it was on some NPR thing recently. Was the first time I heard it.
I can't believe you avoided it because there was a trend going on when this song came out. Did they talk about the whole online thing where people were posting videos of them dancing to it about being happy?
No.
There was like a thing when this song came out. I think this song was in a Minions movie, of course, like the little yellow minions.
I know what that is, but I've never seen it.
It's okay. Anyway, I think it was like in a Minions movie. I think that's what, or Despicable Me, I think it's what they're actually called, but they're the little minions. And Pharrell Williams did a lot of music for, I think, those movies. But this one was like everywhere because it was so popular for like 5 minutes, and like Ellen DeGeneres of the world and everything were obsessed with it. There was a trend where people would record a video of them dancing and singing to it. And there was a website that was 24 hours. 24 hours of people dancing and singing to Happy.
Oh.
So I don't know how you did not see any of this.
No, that entire episode completely passed me by.
And sometimes I wish that I don't know how Tim, I mean, I do know how Tim does it because there's things that Tim knows that I'm like, what are you talking about? Now, this song he knows, this artist he knows, this song I'm pretty sure he's probably had to play a lot just by pressing the play button and being the master DJ that presses the play button, as we've talked about. I love when someone calls himself a DJ and they're like, you want to hire me as a DJ? And then it's like, oh, it's just a playlist on your computer.
Yeah, play, click.
Yeah. When did they go from disc jockeys to just like playing music? Like, when did that, are they allowed to call themselves DJs?
I don't know.
Because, you know, like you get, like they say, you hire a wedding DJ, right?
Yeah, you
But,
expect
like,
someone to be like the master of ceremonies almost that happens to play music.
yeah, but it doesn't. I don't know. Because like a disc jockey was actually like a type of musician in a way, right? Because they're scratching and they're making their own music. But like I feel like that has done away with the past, and now when you hire a DJ, you just get somebody who's maybe gonna say a few words like, "Everybody ready for this song? Click, and then they press play, and that's about it."
Exactly.
Hire me for your DJs, guys. I killed it. But anyway, Tim in his DJ days has definitely played this song from 2015. I actually think he might even like this song. Maybe. It is Mark Ronson featuring Bruno Mars, and it's Uptown Funk.
Yeah, I've played it. I played this in Whiskey River.
You played this song? Mark Ronson is super interesting because he produced a lot of different songs, and he did the Amy Winehouse Valerie song. And a few other songs. He has a very distinct sound to him. Like his music has like a distinct, it stands out to me. I also think he was behind a lot of Bruno's music during this time frame.
Well, the only Mark Ronson songs I know are those two. I don't know anything else by him.
He did a few with Lady Gaga. Hold on. Let's see. And he did some with Miley Cyrus for a little bit too. Oh, let's see if there's any.
I thought Ronson made lighters, but maybe that's something else.
I don't know. Only lighters I can think of is like Bic, but maybe does UK have different lighters?
Yeah, Calibri lighters, Ronson lighters.
Apparently, he did a bunch of the music for the Barbie movie. He did Michael Jackson's. Oh, he produced that one of those like Diamonds Are Invincible, that like remake with the Michael Jackson stuff. Nothing Breaks Like a Heart was the one he did with Miley. I don't know. He's one of those people that like he's been behind the scenes producing a lot of stuff, but he famously produced Back to Black with Amy Winehouse. So.
Yeah.
Which was an iconic album, obviously. Uptown Funk was fun, but it was definitely overplayed.
Yeah, and it was overplayed in the band I was in because we played it every gig after we learned it. And yes, there was a lot of that going on.
Was it at least at first fun though? Because it does have a good rhythm to it.
Yeah, for the first year or so it was fun, and then it got very much overplayed by the band, very much so.
Was it requested a lot?
Yeah, it was actually the reason we started playing it is because someone requested it. We used to play at venue, and someone behind the bar said, "You need to learn Uptown Funk." So we actually did learn it, and then we played it, and then it became a sort of a constant staple in the set.
And then you regretted every day since then that you learned
Well, I
it.
mean, we even recorded it on our demo. I've got a demo that we did in the studio where we play Uptown Funk, in fact.
Do you think it was one that you did a good version of?
Yeah, I mean,
Not you personally, I mean like as a band.
yeah, it sounded fine.
It's not that hard to I don't feel like it's that hard of a song to put together. I could be wrong though.
No, but it was absolutely fine.
All
Well,
right, Tim.
Yeah,
Go
well, I
ahead.
was going to say, Joy, we're almost at the end of the episode, so I think what we should do, it's something we've done before when you're trying to test me, is I think what you should do is read out the year
That's what I
and
was
then
going
the
to
song,
say.
and I will give you a yes or a no if I've heard of this song.
And this is the perfect time to do it because I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a no from because we're getting 2016. To be fair, I'm not even sure I know some of these songs. So this is perfect timing. All right, 2016's Justin Bieber's Love Yourself.
I know who Justin Bieber is. I've never heard this song.
To be fair, only song I knew from Justin Bieber for at least 10 years was Baby, Baby, Baby. Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
But
I'm no
anyway.
believer, let me tell you.
2017's Ed Sheeran, or as Elton John says, Ed Sheeran, Shape of You.
I know who that is. I've not heard that song before.
It was everywhere. Oh, I don't even know this song. 2018's Drake, God's Plan.
No idea. I've heard of this Drake. I don't know who he or she is, but I've never heard that song.
The funny part about Drake is he used to be on this TV show that was like it was very soap opera-ish, and it was but it was like targeted towards people like in high school, young teens. It was called Degrassi. Mm-hmm. And I watched it. Everybody my age watched it because it was basically a soap opera for teenagers. And so Drake on there, before he became a musician, was a character who got shot and was in a wheelchair. Literally. So whenever he became a musician, it was so hard for me to even take him seriously because all I could see was him was on the show Degrassi. Anyway, all right. The next one, oh God. 2019 is Lil Nas X featuring Billy Ray Cyrus and It's Old Town Road.
I know who Billy Ray Cyrus is. I have not heard that song.
Just be grateful you've never had to listen to that. 2020 is The Weeknd, Blinding Lights.
I do know who The Weeknd are because I had a song, I Can't Feel My Face. That song, I've never heard that song.
All right. 2021. Tim's going to know this, but like he has very mixed feelings about this person because he's talked about them on the podcast. Or 2021 was Dua Lipa, Levitating.
I know who Dua Lipa is. I've never heard that song before. I just don't think Dua Lipa is that good.
There you go. Tim, we're gonna get us all canceled. 2022, I have no idea if she has a die-hard amount of fans. At least you said that about her and not Taylor Swift. We'd have to shut the show off if we said that about Taylor Swift. In 2022, it's Glass Animals, Heat Waves.
No idea. I went to Allen Bay once on the Isle of Wight, and they sell glass animals in the gift shop. Does that count for anything?
No. I think they actually, Glass Animals might have opened for another musician I saw once, but I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't know who they were. I'm pretty sure that they were opening for another artist.
Yeah, we have a glass snail on our fridge that came from, on the top of our fridge freezer, which came from Allen Bay, but that's completely unrelated. Continue, Joy.
I don't think I have any glass animals. Anyway, glass stuff doesn't do well around me. We have to use plastic. 2023. This is an artist you might know because I bet you played some of his music. It's Morgan Wallen, Last Night.
I know the name Morgan Wallen. I can tell you that his middle name is Cole, and I have a story which I would tell you, but I'm not going to broadcast on this podcast.
To be fair, I don't like Morgan Wallen, so I'm good for that one. 2024 is Teddy Swims, Lose Control.
No idea. Those could be made up words. I have no idea.
I don't know what that song is either. 2025, you'll know these artists, but you might not know this song. It's Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Die With a Smile.
Yeah, no, I never realized they did a collaboration. I've never heard that song before.
Well, there you go. With that being said, what would you like to tell the people?
Just be kind to everyone that you meet.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.